moments ago what looked like people running in the streets. Is their latest encampment site being charged by riot police now?
Yes, it has, Sammy. Just to put you in the picture, most of the violence that you were referring to took place a few hours ago outside the government offices, which in the same compound you have the Legislative Council building, which is the Parliament of Hong Kong. That's where you saw the clashes take place. Then the protesters left there, came less than a kilometre to an area close to the headquarters of the Hong Kong police. And behind me, you may be able to see the smouldering remains of a barricade that they had set up. They set fire to that barricade. It was quite a large blaze that was burning for some time before the fire crews were able to get through the large number of protesters that were on the other side of the fire from where we're standing, eventually able to put that blaze out. The riot police then came down this street with their water cannon trucks as well and have gone across the remains of that barricade where the fire was and are pushing the protesters further away. We're not sure where the protesters have gone from our vantage point, whether they've gone to another location or whether they have dispersed altogether. But as we've been reporting, this is a familiar pattern for the protesters. They will break away from their peaceful marches that take place in the afternoons earlier on in the day. Then there'll be some violence and then they will disperse, perhaps popping up in other parts of the city in smaller numbers usually. But I have to say what we saw just a few moments ago on the other side of this burning barricade looked to be still quite a large crowd, Sammy.
A clear message being sent by the protesters to authorities tonight, right? That the arrests of Friday have not broken their will.
No, over the course of Thursday evening into Friday, we saw at least 9 people arrested by the police, all prominent faces of the pro-democracy movement in Hong Kong, politicians as well. Some of them have been charged with incitement, with illegal assembly. And the message coming from those who were arrested was that they felt that this was an attempt by the government and by the police to scare people away from protesting. The police said that is absolutely not true. It was just a matter of timing. Our investigations into those people had taken that amount of time, and so we chose that period to make those arrests. So what we had organised for Saturday, well before those arrests took place, was an organised march through this part of Hong Kong. They applied for police permission to stage a large rally. The police rejected that permission. They then appealed. The appeal was turned down again. And so the organisers cancelled the march. They said they didn't want to put people out onto the streets knowing that they were therefore breaking the law and they could be arrested. But the message from some of the groups behind some of the larger protests was that they wanted people to come out anyway, and that's exactly what happened. We saw huge crowds on the streets on Saturday afternoon, and for the most part, like we've seen many times before over the last 3 months, it was a peaceful situation. People marched around different parts of Hong Kong very peacefully. There were very few police to be seen. But then they came to that government building. There were a lot of police inside there. It's a heavily fortified building now after the protesters stormed part of that building on July the 1st. So there's been heavy security in there ever since. But the protesters obviously decided to target that building again. Didn't appear to make any attempt to actually go inside. But they did throw, as you say, lots of rocks, petrol bombs as well, at the barricades, over the barricades to where the riot police were, and the riot police responded pretty fiercely, I have to say. Lots of tear gas and bringing in that water cannon as well, which, as we heard from them just a few moments ago, is laced with chemicals as well. So it was a pretty stern response from the police. But again, we saw the protesters digging in perhaps a bit more than we've seen from them in the past too.